Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I'm a voice teacher. Today I will be reacting to and analyzing Mariah Carey and Michael Buble performing All I Want for Christmas Is You. If you love singing and want to learn more about how it works and why it works, I would love for you to check out my book, Open Your Mouth, Learn How to Sing. There's a link in the description.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need.
I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree.
I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is you.
Good. I mean, I like that it's obviously live. I think that's a fun thing. And some of why I think it's obviously live is because I feel like the singers and the band in the intro were just a little off. They weren't really hitting the beats in the way that I am really used to this song. And that could be a me problem. That totally could be a me thing, but I don't think it was. It felt like they were just a little bit out of sync, but they didn't let that stop them. That's the most important thing, is they just kept going and trusting that they were all like wonderful musicians, that the conductor would probably get them into a place that they're supposed to be. And I think that it did wind up in a really, really good place. And I don't think it was like obviously bad or anything. It was just unexpected from what I'm used to, making me think it's live. Mariah sounds really good. Yeah, she sounds super. When she's going into the really flipped places, her agility is amazing. Like, she still is able to do these really fast, precise runs that I think are beautiful. When she's doing her louder bits, it does still seem like on the edge of mix, right? I don't know. There's just some of it that sounds a little pressed and a little bit open, but we're not at the point where I think she's going to get in any trouble with that yet. Like, it's just not high enough. So I'm really happy to hear where she's at so far. Curious how it's gonna work when she goes up to the high E on the E vowel. Probably is gonna work really well.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need.
I don't care about those presents underneath the Christmas tree.
Interesting, she said, I don't need to ang my stocking. Just playing around with different onsets is something that I'm noticing them do a lot. They've used pretty much everything. They've used the glottal for ang instead of the H, which would be the aspirate. I've heard some vocal fry onsets from both of them, which I think is just a really important stylistic thing to know how to do. And that would be starting in a normal vocal fry, like, and then kind of sliding into a note. So, I don't want a lot. That little fry onset is a really important thing to learn if you're going to sound right singing pop music.
On the fireplace, Santa Claus will make me happy with a toy on Christmas Day. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is you.
She sounds awesome. Like, she sounds really, really good. Just pitch perfect. I'm not hearing anything that's kind of chaotic in her voice. She sounds great. When she goes to the baby, she kind of narrows it to more of the baby, which I think is really important.
I won't ask for much this Christmas. I won't even ask for snow. No, I'm just gonna keep on waiting underneath the mistletoe.
He's singing very staccato. I'm just gonna keep on waiting. Very rhythmic like that. And that's something I noticed from the first time that he came in, was just a lack of legato in his voice. He sounds more like a percussion instrument than a melodic instrument to me right now.
I will make a list and send it to the
Yeah, she sounds great. So that's up to the E. She sounds, I think, even better on that than how she was approaching the stuff. Earlier, I was commenting on where she was only going up to like the A. Really, really good. Sounds like she knows where her voice is at her current state and is, yeah. I mean, I saw one comment underneath the video. It was like, she sounds so warmed up and ready to go. And yeah, I mean, I would agree, but only because I look at warming up as reminding yourself what the best version of yourself is. So you could warm up and have it last like 2 minutes if you know your voice really, really well, and you just kind of check off, yes, I know that I'm capable of doing all these things that I'm required to do. I know what my best voice sounds like, and I'm able to kind of live in that, inhabit that. Where I think a lot of times we have an idea of what our voice might have been a year ago or 5 years ago, or what we want it to be, and we try to like force it into those things. To me, it sounds like she is just totally comfortable with what she's capable of doing. And I mean, fortunately, it's just stuff that rocks. But yeah, she sounds super warmed up because she sounds awesome.
Hear those magical rain play.
Cause I just want you here tonight, holding on to me so tight. Girl, what can I do?
And when he gets to that, oh, what can I do? That gets a little bit more legato. I'm wondering if it's a conscious thing to try to break his voice up a lot more to kind of contrast to Mariah, who is very flowy. And that's an interesting choice to make when you're doing a duet, so that you don't sound too similar and you can, I don't know, mix things up.
And all the lights are shining so brightly
The first
everywhere.
part.
And the sound of children's laughter fills the air. And everyone is singing. Can hear the sleigh bells ringing.
Then won't you bring me the one I really need? Won't you please bring my baby to me?
Okay, so she dodged the first one and then she hit the second one, which is kind of interesting. The second one sounded just a little pressed. That's where I think if she had just had her jaw dropped a little more on that part. I know I'm usually obsessed with like asking her to close her mouth a little bit more, just because I think she has a tendency to kind of get toward yelly, which if you're not having a really wonderful vocal day, that doesn't really work well. But anyway, won't you please go into that kind of place? I think would have worked better on that top note, but what she did sounded really good. It just sounded a little bit tight to me. And so I don't think that she was like, oh, I can't get it this first time, so I'm going to back off. I think it was a choice, but I am curious, like, what her experience is as she's singing those high E's. I love her voice on the part leading into it. This whole bridge, I think she sounds so good in the recording. And I love Michael Buble. I think he's got a really cool voice. I think that he's like a really good singer. And I recommend to a lot of my students that they should sing his songs just because I think he's a really nice example. And I also think that he sings in a range that is not like impossibly hard for beginners to sing in. So anyway, I was kind of disappointed that he sang that part. Let's look again at what she does with her mouth when she goes to that high note. Yeah, so she drops it more on the second one for sure. The first one, I couldn't see her very well. Anyway, just something to kind of think about is when you're opening your mouth versus when you're closing it. Because one is usually going to work better if you flip, and one is usually going to work better if you get into a more full sound. However, I think the one that works really well for the full sound can also work really well for the flip. So using flipped sounds, flipped qualities to kind of find vowel positions that are comfortable can be a really good way to set yourself up to sing in more of a full voice, just because there's usually less on the line when we're singing flipped.
Oh, I don't want a lot for Christmas. This is all I'm asking for.
I just want to see my baby standing right outside my door.
Yeah, so that time he went up to the G. And that's what I mean, is he sounds so spoken, even when he's singing in around his main bridge, around that first passaggio or second passaggio, depending on if we're counting like the little event that happens for a lot of people around an A as a passaggio, if we're just counting the one that kind of happens more close to the E flat. anyway, he's singing around this area that a lot of people struggle with. I really like how he's doing it. I think if you're imitating him, really pay attention to what volume choices he's making and how spoken his vowels are.
I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true.
Yeah, like that's perfect. It's back up to that E. I love how narrow it sounds. I love how kind of piercing it sounds. And I think that it's really important to find those qualities acoustically rather than through pressure. Make. Finding it, even if I was doing that in total head voice, make. You can find that kind of buzziness versus maybe a make. Because if I tried to go full voice in that, make, it just sounds a little too pulled versus make doesn't sound as pulled to me, doesn't feel as pulled, and it gets that quality that I think is essential when you're singing around your bridge. So I don't have perfect pitch, but I do usually get within a half step if someone's like, what note was that? Which everyone obviously does all the time because that's just a game that you play with your friends. No, I'm the annoying one who like has a girlfriend who has perfect pitch, and I'm always like, was that a G? And she's like, no, it was an A flat or whatever. But the reason that I'm able to get it, at least as close as I am, is because I listen for places where people's voices tend to sound a little too broad or they get this mixier timbre. And if I hear like them going into that mixier kind of timbre, to me, that usually narrows down my guess to around their bridges. If they go to the more yelly timbre, a lot of times my instinct is like, oh, it must not be that high.
'Cause baby, all I want for Christmas is you.
All I want for Christmas, babe, is you. All I want is you,
I love that he just stares at her. It's like, you're in charge. I'm going to follow everything you do. And I bet that the conductor is just staring at her. You're in charge. I'm going to follow everything you do. But that part was so together. Very good. Her high runs are just outstanding. Like, she is so precise. It's a beautiful tone. It looks really easy. She's like still top of her game with that kind of stuff from what I'm seeing.
is you.
And all I want is you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That was pretty. That was pretty. I'm still going to listen to the original recording most of the time that I go to listen to this. Sorry, Michael. In the same way, I really used to really like Justin Bieber, and he had a version of this song, and it's like, I don't want to listen to it because as soon as I start listening to it, I'm just reminded of how good the original version is because it is just that good. And it's so rare for there to be like new Christmas standards, but this has definitely made it. If you can think of any other songs by pop people who you think should be part of the Christmas canon at this point, please leave a comment below. I mean, I really like Santa Tell Me by Ariana Grande. I think that's a really good one. But there just are so few in my lifetime that I'm like, this is awesome. You know, Christmas Shoes, awesome song that everyone loves a lot and everyone's covering. It just isn't a thing. It's not a thing that happens. Well done, Mariah. Well done, Michael. I'm going to listen to Mariah's more. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. If you're wanting to start voice lessons, please check out my website, vocalese.net. Or if you want to just learn more about the voice, kind of teach yourself, please check out my book, Open Your Mouth, Learn How to Sing. Link in the description. Merry Christmas.